Hi everybody, I'm Tony. Thanks for visiting Sugar Tart Crafts today. I was talking to a bloggy friend a little while ago about tutorials and she suggested giving videos a try. So last week I made a written tutorial about this skirt. I showed how to use elastic thread to make the shirring of a really basic simple skirt. Today we're going to go over the same technique to make a top. I'm just going to make a shortened form of this dress using the elastic thread, and then you guys can let me know if you like the video better or the written tutorial. Here we go. Okay, these are the supplies that we're going to use today. I have my scissors, pins, iron, measuring tape, standard stuff. This cherry print is the fabric I'm going to use. Here's the elastic thread. I got mine from Joann's, but I'm pretty sure you can get it at any fabric store, maybe some craft stores. I've wound it onto a bobbin already. You can see, there it is. You don't want to stretch it really tight when you wind it, just keep it taut and wrap it all the way around. I'd like to put as much as you can possibly fit on there so you don't run out halfway through the project. Then I've got some ribbon that I'm going to use for the straps. I also have my sewing machine over here already threaded with the coordinating thread that I'm going to sew most of the top with. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need to do is measure the child that you're making this for, or yourself if you want to make one for you. Before the baby went down for her nap, I measured under her armpits the whole way around. I got 20 inches. This number needs to be roughly doubled because the elastic thread will shrink it down by half. I'm making it for next year, and my fabric just happens to be about 44 inches, so even though it'll be super big this year, she'll probably get 2 years wear out of it next year and the year after. So I'm going with my 24 inches. If your fabric that you have is a little less than double, it's not a big deal. This stretches for days, so it's very, very forgiving. Then you want to know the length. So I used a t-shirt that fits her now to see how long. Cover that baby belly button. Measuring from the armpit down to the hem of this shirt, I have 10 inches. Since I want it a little bit longer, and we need extra for the casings in the hem, I'm going to go with 13 inches if I have a chunky hem that I can make longer over the next couple years. That's perfect for what I'm shooting for. Hems and the upper casing are pretty much whatever your preference is. So I already made a notch in my fabric over here at the 13 inches, and since I'm going from selvage to selvage of the 44 inches, I'm just going to tear straight across. You might not want to do this with your fabric, but I'm going to take the easy way. Get the threads off. There we go. So now, I'm not sure if you can see it, but I have one long rectangle that goes 13 inches by 44. I'm going to go ahead and fold down my 1/4 inches for the top casing, and then the same for my hem until I have my 10 inches. Okay, so now I've gone ahead and folded over the top edge, 1/4 inch, then another 1/4 inch. You can see the creases. Then I did the same thing with the hem, folded down and folded down again, until I have the 10 inches. That was the length of my daughter's shirt. So the final length of this top will be 10 inches. I'm going to go ahead and unfold on those creases, line them up, throw a few pins in here. Since this is the selvage edge, I really am not going to have to finish it off at all. I'm just going to leave it. You can zigzag it or serge it if you have a serger, but it's really not going to, unless you're using a fabric that's really prone to unraveling, it's not really going to be a big deal. Okay, now seam allowance is nothing really specific. I just have, like I said, my selvage edge is white, so I want to make sure I cover up all my white. So I'm going to go with about the edge of my presser foot, maybe a little bit further. But it's really up to you. It's not going to make a big difference with all the stretch that this has. So, there we go. Got it on a regular stitch length, straight stitch. You can see my bottom edge, it did match up. I forgot to make sure that the one edge of my fabric was straight before I cut it, so not a big deal. I just made sure that the hem was okay, and when I fold it over, you won't even be able to tell the difference. So now I'm going to go ahead and press the seam open. Okay, when my seam is pressed open, I'm going to go ahead and refold right at those creases that I ironed earlier. Fold the 1/4 inch at the top. Oh. There we go. And I really only need these 2 pins because everything else I ironed such a tight crease that you can just follow it along. Do the same thing with my hem. Fold it down again. Add my 2 pins, and you can see still a tight crease. So makes hemming a lot easier, for me at least. I don't have to go back now and iron in those creases and try and finagle with a tube of fabric. I'm going to go ahead and stitch my hem, and then stitch the top edge, and I'll be right back. Okay, now I have my 7/8 of an inch hem here, and I did a 1/4 inch on my top edge. Finish off, we have a tube. I'm not sure how much you can see, but we have a tube of fabric, and we're ready to get started with the elastic thread. I'm going to take out my pink bobbin and grab my bobbin I wound earlier with my elastic thread. Like I said at the beginning, don't pull it tight and then wrap, just hold it taut and wrap it gently. If you pull it too tight, it'll mess up the tension. So I'm gonna put it in backwards. We're gonna thread it just like you would regular bobbin. Got a little bit of loop there. There we go. So I have my pink thread coming from the top and my elastic thread coming from my bobbin case. Put my little plate back on there. Make sure you have a little tail before you get started. And I'm going to start on my center seam here, just below this line of stitches. So I just clear the folded edge on the inside. You have to sew on the right side of the fabric. So make sure you have the right side up when you put it in your machine. I'm going to line myself up here. Change my stitch length to 4. That's my longest. All the machines are different, so just make sure you have a bigger stitch. I'm gonna take a few and back stitch, and then I'm just gonna sew the whole way around until I get back to this point, just before this point. Okay. Now, we're back to the beginning. Here is where I started my stitches. I'm going to start to angle just slightly and get parallel, so my next row of stitches goes here. We're going to make a big, just one giant spiral line of stitching. So just make sure you start a little further away so it's more gradual, you don't just drop off. For this top, I'm going to keep my stitches about 1/4 inch, my rows about 1/4 inch apart. Some people like to use the edge of the presser foot. It's really up to you on the look that you're going for, but it'll all pretty much work. So here we go. Okay, you can see I'm not really taking my time with this. It's all going to scrunch up. It's not got to be super perfect. But I'm just going to keep going around doing the same thing. On the second pass, your line's already slanted, so you don't have to slant anymore. Just keep following that line as far down as you want. Now, I've come to the end of my rows. I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This will be 8 rows around. Braylee's she's not even 2 yet, so that should be enough for her. Plus we're going to add the straps so it won't be slipping all the time. If you're going to leave the straps off or make this for a bigger kid or yourself, you'll want to add more rows. Just depends on the look that you're going for. But I'm going to stop here. I'm near the end. Let me see if I can get this closer. These are my spiraling rows. I'm going to finish off by coming straight and attaching with my last row around. So it'll be spiraling, and then angling back up to catch that last row. So I've only got 1 inch here, so let me back stitch. And then let's take it out and cut my threads. Leave a little bit of a tail. Okay, I'm going to put you back. Now, you can see it started to shrink up. I know it's hard to see, but there's my spiraling stitches, the beginning and the end. trim my threads off here. Flip it around. Now, I know I backstitched, but it never hurts to be extra careful. I'm going to tie a knot before I trim my tail. I've not yet had anything unravel on me, but who knows what toddlers do to their clothes. Okay, grab that one and clip him. Okay, and there's our top. I'm just going to hit it with a really quick shot of steam. Oh, you can hear the baby is no longer napping. You can see as I add more seam, it starts to shrink up even more. It'll get even tighter once it goes through the laundry and start to look like this dress that I made earlier. This one I actually kept the stitches a presser foot width apart, and I had to do quite a few more rows. You can see there's 14 rows of elastic on this one. So I'm going to go wrangle up the child and see where we can put the straps for this one. Okay? So we got the child wearing the top. We're going to add the straps. You can see how easy it would be to just pull it down and have a skirt. But since we want a shirt, we're going to go ahead, yes, apple, and figure out where we want the straps to go. I'm just going to take a safety pin and get a general idea of where I want my straps to go. 1, 2, 3, yes? Can I have that? No need. Okay. Now, you could attach a strap on either side and tie them at the neck, have a halter top, crisscross them across the back, and just attach them on both sides. What I'm going to do is attach 2 on the front and the back, and then tie them at her shoulders. So, yes? Can you say hi? Can you say hi?
Hello, Daddy.
Yes, that's Daddy. Whoa. Yes, that's Daddy. Okay, here you go.
Down.
Attach my 4 straps. Done. Okay, I'm going to figure out how long I need my straps to be and then come back in a little bit. Now here's the finished top. I just attached the straps by sewing all the way around inside the casing, back stitching when I came to the ribbon, so they're pretty solid. So you can put it on your kid and send them out to collect rocks or whatever other trouble they're going to get into. Oh. Thank you for visiting. I hope you learned something from this tutorial, and please let me know which versions you prefer, the video or the written.